Hi there everybody, it's UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator Halsey here from slimandstylish.stampingup.net, and I have got a technique for you today which I'm calling the watercolour squishy technique. It was the watercolour squash, but I decided to go with squishy instead. So I'm going to be using a old un but a good un with my stamp set today, and I'm using the Colour and Contour photopolymer stamp set, which I know I've used numerous times, and I'm just going to get those out and put them on the blocks now. Now, this is a technique that I've seen quite a few other crafters do. Some of them Stampin' Up demonstrators, some of them not. And I've just fell in love with it. I think it's really clever and really cute. And I've wanted to play with it myself for some time. Now, we've removed the Shimmery Whisper white cardstock from our catalogue. So most watercolour techniques are now done with the watercolour paper. But this you can do with your basic white paper because it's not going to be too intense of water. Okay, and you want to use your Memento ink for this one. Okay, so you want to stamp and put down what you're doing. So I've got two of my larger flowers, I've got a couple of the leaves, and then I'm going to put a couple of the buds on there as well. Just keep building your posy. You can make it as small or as large as you like. You could make it a whole background piece if you wanted to, or you could just keep it as a fine detail. Once I've finished, I'm using some of these splatter effects that are in the stamp set because this is going to be a messy watercolour card and these splatters are going to go lovely. So then you want some of the window sheets. Okay, you don't have to actually buy a whole pack of window sheets. This could be the sort of PVC backing that comes on your stamps. That would work as well. So for this project, I'm using the Stampin' Right markers. And I'm using the Stampin' Right marker onto the sort of PVC window sheet, adding a little bit of water on there so that you get a colour droplet, and then adding it to the card just like that. Now, I did start off with Daffodil Delight, so you're not going to see that fantastically well. And I never thought when I started to start with a bright colour, but trust me, the Daffodil Delight has ended up on there, and you'll see exactly what I'm doing when I move up to the brighter colours. So this one here is Granny Apple Green. I've put it on. I've added some spritz. And now I'm going to turn it over. And you can see, there you go, it'll pool like that. Now you can either stamp it off beforehand like I've just done, because I knew I got too much water on there and too much green. Or you can apply it straight to the paper and have a more coloured effect. It's really up to you. But yeah, I did think as I was doing this, you should have really started off with a bright colour so that everybody could see what you were doing. And you'll notice I haven't put it all in one place. I've put it in a few different places so that we can get a few specks of water. Now this is Melon Mambo, but I've also added some Highland Heather in because I want the flowers to look bright and colourful, like a proper colour splash effect. And as always, I'm just knocking it off and then I'm going straight onto it. And hopefully you can see, you don't have to do it once, you can do it twice, you can do it 3 times, get all that colour onto the card and just keep adding. Okay, so then you've got the buds. So again, for the buds, clear up your PVC with just some scrap toilet roll or tissue or whatever you've got. And for this one, I'm using Calypso Coral. And you can see I've tried to imitate with this one the sort of shape of the bud. Add some water, tap it down, and add the colour onto the picture. So there's one, and there's 2. If you think that this is too pale, that's no problem at all. Go back in, grab the colour that you think you need more of, do the same process, and off you go. Keep doing it until you're happy with it, okay? There's no point stopping. If you're not at the colour you want, you can keep going as much as you like or as little as you like, but it's just so much fun. It looks like someone's just come along and splattered a load of colours in there, which is just great, right? So I'm adding a bit more of the Daffodil Delight from earlier so that you can properly see them in the flowers. And there we go. Now what you can do is you can leave it to dry naturally, or you can use a heat gun. I'm using the heat gun because we're on camera and I have a time. I didn't want this to be a 20-minute video while you waited for it to dry. So once you've done that, you can create your card. So I'm going to put a sentiment on here. So I've got this one here. Pop it on your block. Stamp it down on some scrap basic white. And for this, I'm going to be using the Memento ink because my card is predominantly stamped in black. and then you can create yourself a label. So for this one, I'm using my Trio Punch. I love this. It is so pretty. The thing to remember with it is you want to flip it. So once you've done one corner, turn the paper upside down to do the other corner so that it matches. And then I'm just chopping the top off. So I've created like a flap label for it, and I'm going to stick that from the top, just like that. Okay. Now I was looking at this and I quite liked it and thought just add it onto the card. But then I decided to add a colour of pop underneath, which was black, just to make it really set off. In hindsight, I preferred it as a full sheet, but I did add the black under and it worked as well. So up to you how you decide to do it. But I just did it like that. So I just had a little bit of a margin and it sort of made the colours pop. Really up to you and your style as to whether you'd like to do that. So what I decided to do was cut this down to about 1 inch. So I'm not wasting all that black. Add a bit of glue and then stick my card down onto it. So I'm using seal for this. And what I'm doing here is I'm placing the bit I've cut so that I know that I'm going to have it back to the right size, because my size of cardstock is 10.5 centimetres, which is the width of my card. So I wanted to make sure that it was still 10.5 centimetres. And I'm just chopping down a little bit at the top to make it even. And there we are. Add it onto your card base. So I keep these by the side of mine. All I needed to do was burnish it and add some adhesive and stick it on top. Once you've just done that, you want to add the sentiment in. But what I did is I had got a little bit of an overlay. No worry if you've got an overlay, chop it off. And as I always say, I'd much rather have an overlay and go over than be under, because you can't add on, but you can chop off. So then you've got the sentiment that you want to add onto your card. And as I said, I'm going to be adding that onto the top. I'm going to be using some dimensionals here to stick this down. Okay, and I'm going to be using our 3D foam to do that so that it just stays in place. Whip the backing off, stick it down, and there we go, the sentiment on there. Finally, to finish it off, I'm going to be using some of our metallic effects. Love these. We've got them in black, we've got them in silver, gold, copper, white, red. I'm using the black one here just to set in with the design that I've already done. And that's my card, my watercolour squashy card. What do you think? Oh, this is the white metallic effects. I forgot I'd added this one just down the side of that panel to add a little bit more definition to it. But yeah, love it. This is such a cute technique. Why don't you give it a try and let me know how you get on below. It's using the colour and contour set from my store. Thank you. And here's the finished project. Thank you for joining me. I do hope that you enjoyed the video. Everything I've used today is available from slimandstylish.stampinup.net. If you did enjoy the video, please do drop me a like or leave me a comment. And if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe and come back for more content. I also have an Instagram page that I'm trying to grow at the same time. It's @slimandstylish, and every like or follow helps. Thanks everybody for joining me. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day. Bye.